Hey guys, happy Thursday. Okay, today we are working on another data display. So far this week we have worked on dot plots, we've worked on frequency tables, and we worked on relative frequency tables. Today we're going to be working on histograms. Go ahead and complete your PDN. Come back when you're ready to check answers. Okay, first thing I need to do is give it a title. It says 20 students were surveyed about the number of days they played outside. So I'm gonna say days playing outside. My category here, what are all these numbers? This person played outside 6 days, this person played outside 5 days, so I'm just gonna say days. Frequency and relative frequency tests stay the same. As I look at these, I can choose whatever interval I want as long as it meets all our rules. I'm gonna choose for my first interval 0 to 1. 0, 1 is 2. My next one, if this ends at 1, has to start with 2, 2, 3, 4 to 5, and 6 to 7. Check my frequencies. How many times do 0 and 1 occur? 1, 2, 3. Happens 3 times. 2 to 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. 4 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. And then 6 to 7, 1, 2, 3 times. How many numbers do I have up here? If I count them all up, I have 20 numbers, so this needs to add up to 20. 3 plus 6 is 9. 9 plus 8 is 17. 18 plus 3 is 20. So good, it adds up to 20. Also that I know that they're out of 20, I know it's 3 out of 20. To get 2 out of 100, I multiply by 5. 15 out of 100 equals 15%. Next one is 6 out of 20. Again, I'm going to multiply by 5 to get 30 out of 100, which equals 30%. 8 out of 20, multiply by 5 equals 40 out of 100, which equals 40%. And then 3 out of 20, I've already done that one. 3 out of 20 equals 15 out of 100, which equals 15%. I want to double check these should add up to 100. 15 plus 30 is 45, plus 40 is 85, plus 15 is 100%. If you use different intervals, don't worry about it. Don't change them now. I'll be able to double check and to give you feedback right on your Google Doc if you have that right or wrong. So far, we've learned about dot plots, frequency tables, and relative frequency tables. Today, we're working on another kind of data display, a histogram. Histograms give us the same information as frequency tables, but they're easier to see and comprehend. We still need to remember our rules for intervals. We've reviewed this every day this week. We will now use this to create a histogram. Now, you all are not going to be creating histograms on your own. It's just too hard to do on a computer. So I'm going to show you one example of how you can create a histogram, and then it's going to be your job to look at histograms and figure out how they answer them. So in this example, this gives me the temperature of all the days of the week. I've already given you the different intervals that we're going to use, so we have to just go back and check the frequency. Pause your video and fill out the frequency now. Come back when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, for the first one, you should have gotten 3, then 2, then 2, then 1, then, 3, then 2, then 2, then 2, then 1, then 5. 5 plus 1 is 6, 6 plus 2 is 8, 10, 12, 15, and I double check, there are 15 days. Okay, now that I have this information, this is a little bit weird, so follow the directions carefully. You're going to pause this video, and you're going to open up the other video on this assignment, because the other video shows you how I made a histogram. Once you are done watching the other video, you can come back to this one. Okay, now that you've seen how I actually make a histogram, I'm not going to ask you to do that because that would be very, very difficult to do on a computer. So instead, I'm going to give you histograms, and I'm going to ask you to answer questions based on them all. So here's our first histogram. It says the distribution of math scores. And you can see that 3 kids got between 41 and 50. 5 kids got it between 51 and 60. No one got it between 61 and 70. Our most kids, 12 kids got between 71 and 80, and so on. How many students scored 80 and below on the math test? So it's not just this column that scored 80 and below. This column scored 80 and below, but so did this one and this one. So to find my answer, I have to count these 12 kids plus these 5 kids, which is 17 kids, plus these 3 kids, which is actually 20 kids. So 20 kids scored 80 or below. These kids scored higher than 80. These kids, along with these 2 groups of kids, all scored 80 or below. How many students took the test? I already counted these 3 bars and got 20. So I'm going to count this bar, which is 8. That gives me 28. And then 2 more here gives me 30 kids altogether that took the test. How many took the test? 30 kids. I did that just by adding all the bars together. About what percent of kids scored between a 51 and 60? So 5 kids scored between a 51 and 60, 5 out of 30 kids. I would simplify that to be 1 out of 6 kids. Now I can't get 1 out of 6 straight to 100. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 divided by 6. And when I do that, I get 0.18. 1 divided by 6 is 0.18. And then there's a 3 after it, but we can stop at the hundredths place. 0.18 equals 18%. Which of the statements is false? Fewer than 13 students scored above 80. Let's see. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 is fewer than 13, so this one is true. That's not the answer that we're looking for. Over half the students scored between 71 and 90. I'm already going to think right now. I know that there's 30 kids on this who took this test, and half of that would be 15. So it says over half scored between 71 and 90. Over half scored, over 15 scored between now. Let's check. 71 to 80 was 12. 81 to 90 was 8. So 20 kids altogether scored between 71 and 90. So that is true. And remember, we're looking for the false statement. More students scored between 71 and 80 than 81 to 100. 71 to 80 was 12. 81 to 100 is both of these. So this is 8 plus 2 is 10. The statement says more scored 71 to 80 than 81 to 100. Is 12 more than 10? Yes, it is. So that's true. Let's hope this last one is false. Less than half of the students scored lower than 81. Lower than 81 was 5 and 3, so that's 8. Is that plus the 12 here is 20? Is 20 less than half? Well, we know that half of 30 is 15, so 20 is not less than 15. This is the one that's false. Okay? So for all your questions today, you're going to get a histogram and you're going to be expected to go through and answer questions based on it. Just like we did earlier in the week, your first problem set is going to be online. So you're going to click this link. You're going to solve those questions on that website. It'll tell you right away whether you're right or wrong. Go ahead and pause the video here and come back when you're ready to answer the next question. Okay, if you're back on this video, you should have already completed this practice online. You're now doing the second question. Pause the video and solve it. Come back when you want to check your answer. Okay, first question, which interval had the lowest frequency? That's this bar right here, and it's asking about the interval, and the interval is 60 to 79. So that will be our first interval. How many students read between 20 and 39? 20 and 39 is this bar right here. It goes up between 40 and 45. I would accept the answer as a 42. I would accept 43. You probably wouldn't put 41 or 44, but if you did, I would accept it. As long as your answer is between 40 and 45 and it's a reasonable estimate, I'll accept it. For your second set of practice, you need to click both of these links and solve them. Right now, you're going to pause your video and you're going to do both of these links. After you have finished these links, you can answer these last 2 questions. Excuse me. And then unpause the video when you have all of this done. Okay, if you're back, you should have already done both these online practices. Let's look at these questions right here. How many days was the morning temperature less than 25 degrees? This is 25 or greater, so we're looking at this bar and this bar. This was 12 and this was 14. So together, that's 26 days that it was less than 25 degrees. Which of the following is not true? Temperature was between 15 and 19 on 12 mornings. 15 and 19, 12 mornings. That is true. Temperature between 30, 34 on one morning. 30, 34, that looks to be 1. That is true. 15 to 24 on 24 mornings. 15 to 24. So both of these, 14 plus 12, is actually 26. We already answered that right here. So we know that this is the one that is false. Okay. What do you have left? You have your exit ticket. Make sure that you type your answer and your explanation right here. After you finish, you can log into Khan and do your reading dot plots. That's something we reviewed on Monday, but you'll do it again as a Khan assignment today. As always, if you have questions, go ahead and send me a text or give me a call, 847-769-4731. Thanks, guys. I'll see you back here tomorrow.